Hello everybody, my name is Farmer Phil, and in today's video we're going to be explaining why we are choosing a solid fuel future over a heat pump. A couple of reasons we made this choice, but we're also doing some forestry timber work today. So we have 6270, we have a new machine in the yard. It's, you could say, a long-term demo machine. It is a timber processor. It is a Arpal from Ukraine. So it is a wood processor. It's for processing, now get this right, softwood fresh up to 8 inches, dry you drop an inch, and hardwood 6 inches fresh drop an inch for if it's hard, if it's dried. So it has an unloading auger and in. So we'll be working this, we'll be working showing how it works in that. We haven't actually used it before, so fun. We hooked on the Red Rock trailer because we were going to unload it into it, so then I can just tip it where I want it out of the way. So it does have, might be chancing my arm now, I don't know what you take down the road. We're going to the front of the house to cut up the timber that's at the front of the house or process that. Don't know would you run down the road with the trailer now on the back of it, but it's probably more for a car trailer or plant trailer or something, maybe not just as industrious. But anyways, we're going to go get ourselves set up and we're going to process a bit of timber, and then we're going to get into why we're making the decision we're making. Let's see how this machine works. So one thing with the trailer on, I just have to be careful when we turn in circles. I can turn pretty hard to the right, but to the left, maybe not so much. So just he's moving his car. But yeah, just have to be careful while moving it. Yeah. So this is, we have to, you keep winding it. This is on a ram here, so you keep laying it down and then let this up, I think. So we have to let this down until the tension comes on the belt. This is a pretty big long auger.
You definitely get out the filler anyway.
Jesus. We might have left ourselves a bit short maybe.
We'll put the wheel on itself. And soon.
I haven't this tight enough.
No.
I loosened it all the way back. Just while Lee is putting that on, just to show you what's inside. So it's quite simple. It's just 2 rollers, and as you shove in the timber, the 2 rollers just come up and split it. So it's going to cut it into lengths. So I think that's what it does anyways. It's a fair bit of an auger on it. You could probably go back another bit maybe and lift it up more maybe. Back, just to get it that we can, I'd say you're good at that.
I don't know why you want that close.
These are Christmas trees that are goat set, so we probably should chop these off, but however. Bit of proper wood. So we're really pushing our luck with this one. Amazing. I was like that, there's no way in hell I thought there was no way that was taking that. That'd get you ambitious, that so it would. We're just pulling out timber we think is usable. Bit of chainsaw work, not too much. But we could have done with that machine when we were felling the timber, because you could have been bringing it to it as we done it. So the cousin is still going to come and chip a lot of the stuff is here. So we're just, look, I wanted to try out that machine before we brought it down for what we really got it for, just to see what it can take before we go off with it and then realise that's not going to do what we wanted and jam it and that. So we're going to pick what we can out of here, and yeah, I just can't get over it. It's like taking proper chunks of stuff and just sucks it into it. That is the job of good one. So we did lose a little bit of rubbish. Not too much. So I'll just show you what's in the trailer. I'm absolutely sweating. Absolutely. So that's what we have. So we took some of the heavy stuff. Now there is ivy on it, and by right we probably should have been cleaning and that. And realistically, to be efficient at that, we want one person in there with a chainsaw just tidying up stuff, and then two of us horsing it into it. So we'll explain what we will be doing with it. But this was a test because we wanted to see how well it worked before we brought it off to do work, and then realised it wasn't going to do what we wanted to do and never bring it back. So yeah, so that's her off. So it's just folded up, we tidy up, and then we want to put it on the trailer and tip it at my mother's. Yeah, the front door. She can throw it in the turf box. So savage big kit. Can't get over the thickness of the really heavy logs they cut. Yeah, just really chuffed with how well it worked. Make them with or without the auger, and they sent us the one, or conveyor belt. They sent us the one with the conveyor belt because I think we're going to get more use out of it for that kind of work. I'm well chuffed with this machine now. Yeah. So we get folded up and we get the timber tip, tidy up that, and what's left in there we're going to get the cousin to chip, and yeah, we'll probably put to one side for bedding calves. So if anyone is interested in this machine, we'll leave a link in the description down below to where you need to go to get in touch with someone to know more about it. So head over to Trevor Warren. So some big, yeah, I still can't get over it. It's hard to get my head round, you know, sizes. The grease point is it? Oh, gears. To unlock the branch, so if you're jammed, you open that and you can turn it clockwise. It must be to let off the,
like that road.
yeah, to wind it back. Yeah, that's what that is. To wind that, wait, if you get jammed you can wind it back. That's what that's for. So, yeah, some big kit. So anyways, we go tidy up, and yeah, then we'll go into the house to explain more. So we're in here now in the farmhouse beside the stove. The stove that was put in, I can't actually remember. It's not that old a stove. It might be in 5 or 6 years now. But as the title of the video says, why are we choosing solid fuel, which would be timber, over a heat pump, which is the modern way of heating a house. Now, just before you go, you will notice the sound has changed, and that's because my mic gave up. Myself and my wife Liv filmed in here and filmed a bit outside for the video, and when we went to edit it, all sound was gone. Have to record this. The mic is given up. Spend 500 on a mic and it's constantly either breaking or broke. So yeah, fun. But anyway, so the reason we've decided to go for solid fuel over the heat pump is basically down to, I have yet to hear a good thing about a heat pump. They seem to be hard electricity, costly to run, and break down quite a bit. It's just seemed, from my understanding of a heat pump works by collecting about 12 degrees of heat out of the air, water, whatever it is, and then using electric elements to heat that up to your desired temperature. So it can be quite hard on electricity. And that's why we're choosing solid fuel for our future for the house. The house we're in now is the farmhouse. We are hopefully going to start renovating and remodeling and whatnot in the next couple of months. And when it came to sitting down with the architect and we were doing the new layout for the house, the bit of an extension we're going to be putting on, and then the question came up, how are we going to heat the house? That's when this whole thing started, and that's when that machine we had originally, I got an email about that machine, and I was like, not really interested because it's a timber machine. We don't really do timber content. I didn't think it fit the channel that well, and we didn't know anything about it. But when we sat down with our architect and she was like, how are we going to heat it? She was all for heat pumps. And me and Liv, after talking to different people, we were like, no, we want a fireplace. We want the fire, we want the stove, we want solid fuel, because it's just whatever it is about it. Now, we do have our turf here. We do have turf in the shed. We'll probably have enough turf to do a couple of years, but when it runs out, it's gone. It's finished. The traditional way of heating the house is over. So we'll probably put a few in the shop for the museum as a memory. We will be going for timber fuel, and it was when that decision was made, right, we're going to go solid fuel here. We're going to need to process timber. We need to decide how we're going to do it, or wood pellets or whatever. It's going to be a solid fuel. So that's when we were like, maybe that machine might be useful for us in the future. So that's when we got back in touch and we got the machine. And that's why it wasn't until we sat down, we're like, how are we going to heat the house? We just did not like the idea of a heat pump. Too many bad news, too much negative about them, and so we picked solid fuel. So we will be having a stove, and we will probably be putting in a fireplace. Now we will be moving stuff around and whatnot, so we'll be making videos of all we're doing and insulation and all that when it comes to the house, but we will have at least one stove, if not two stoves, and maybe a fireplace. So that's why we're going down that road. And the machine then also just simplifies, it's labour saving to process the timber to heat the house. As it stands, because we are on a farm, we've a good sized farm here, there is always lots of timber that falls over the winter. At the minute I can think of 2 really big trees and about 5 small trees that we have to process, and that's all going to be for timber for burning. Not alone that, but we will be putting in a small bit of forestry. When I say small, I mean really small. If there was 20 trees in it, it would be the height. We are going to be putting in a couple of hedges on the farm, and we'll try and replace trees where trees fall, just to keep the timber stock high, and so that when we do run out of turf and we do start to become reliant on timber, that we're not depleting the resource on the farm, that it's regenerative. And that is, timber is a renewable resource. It may not seem like it, but it is. It's a 20-year cycle. Peat turf, non-renewable. It's talking 10, 20,000 years, I think it is, to create peat. I suppose one of the things some will say about a heat pump, well, you could put solar panels on, and then your solar panels will generate the electricity for your heat pump, and then it's not leading to a big bill. The issue we have with putting up solar panels, because we were recently at a renewable roadshow that was organised by the Farmers Journal and IFA and so on and so forth in Athlone, was when you look for the grant on it for the farm, because the meter reading is for the farm, for the house and the farm, you can put them up, but you're capped by how much electricity you used in the last 12 months. So if we were to put in a heat pump and we went straight into getting an application, it would be an application or a grant aid on the last 12 months. So that wouldn't include what the heat pump's actually using. And also with our farm shop development, we'll also be running off the same meter. That also is going to have a big pull. So not until we get down up, have a full year of that. In literally, it's going to be 3 or 4 years before we can go down the road of looking about putting up solar panels to make sure we are at our maximum usage that we think we'll have, to make sure we get the most out of it. We do it today, we're not going to get enough out of it. And to my understanding, we can only apply for that grant aid once. So yeah, that's what's going to stop us from putting up solar. We will put up solar. We might not put solar on the house, but we'll be putting solar on the farm shop and some of the farm sheds to meet that demand. Now there is another limiting factors with what you can put up, as in your local transformer that will feed back into the grid during, because you peak in morning and evening, and then you really supply during the day, and you can pump batteries. There's a lot more into it now, but that also can be a limiting factor. Because if your peak usage, if your midday usage is low, but your peak output will be high to try and cover the gap. If you only have, if you need 15 kV, it is kVA, but your local transformer is only 8 kVA, you may get capped at the 8 rather than needing the 15, because if you need to put back into the grid, you won't be able. So there is that as well. It could be a limiting factor. So yeah, there's a good bit to go through on that, but that's not for today, and it is an argument. But if you want to discuss in the comments down below which you think, heat pump yay, heat pump no, solid fuel no, down in the comments down below, that's where you can discuss it down there. Tell us why we're right or tell us why we're wrong. We're going to move on to the second reason why we took on that machine. And machinery, and me, I love machinery. I love testing out machinery, and that machine has quite impressed me now. It's just some animal of a yoke to take timber. But we'll move on to the second reason why we decided to take on this long-term demo machine. So the second reason we decided to take that machine on a long-term demo basis is this here behind me. Every spring season we get felled trees along the fence lines of the fields. That this one has fallen on the fence and it's shortened the fence. We haven't it cleared yet because we want to test that machine before I brought it down here. Then realised it's not going to do what we wanted it to do. So now we know what it's going to do. I would a fair level of confidence it's going to take that right into the very base, like, and that's going to reduce the labour in getting rid of these. Just massive amount of labour reduction, because you just cut the length, shove it in, it falls in a trailer. They used to say timber heats you 3 times: when you cut it, when you chop it, when you burn it. And now we're just getting rid of that. Well, that was a bit sweat on me now when we were loading it, but so that's the second reason. And just alone in that fence line that runs down to a forestry, there's 3 trees down, and I can think of 5 or 6 trees of that size. We do have 2 bigger trees that are down as well that need to be sorted too, both in silage ground, which we have to get sorted before we cut silage. So yeah, it's something that it makes sense. It's going to be a labour reduction on clearing fence lines after every winter, because during the winter with the high winds, trees fall. And to be perfectly honest, I would reckon that's probably an ash tree, and it probably died of ash dieback. Probably. Just usually we have ash in the area that has died, and we have ash in the area that is still thriving. So it's a fine line to balance. But that is the second reason why we decided to take that machine. Simplifies getting rid of them, because otherwise it's a right pain in the ass. Excuse the bit of a mess, but Percy the peacock is fanning his feathers there. He's only a young, and so he hasn't got his full tail feathers, but it's pretty cool. This house is heated, or was whatever way you want to look at it, by an oil boiler. So we will be taking that out. We won't be putting back an oil boiler to it, because we'll be heating the house. We're going to be putting in, the plan is to heat the house, we're going to be putting in a triple coil cylinder, so I can take 3 different heat sources. So one will be from hopefully what we get done with the farm shop. One will be from the stoves that we do put in, or the fireplaces. We'll be putting back boilers in them, so not only will they heat the room that they're in, but they'll also heat the water to heat the rest of the house, which will also heat that. And then the third one is Liv wants to put in a cooker into it, like one of the traditional old school cookers. So whether we go solid fuel, gas or electric on that, we'll have to wait and see, but that will also heat water, which will also heat the house. And we'll also be going with underfloor heating throughout the house as well. So that's how the house will be heated. We'll get into insulation and windows and all that stuff another day when we actually are at that work, but Yeah, so that's just to let you know the house has always been heated, or for as long as I can remember was oil, as well as the stove currently has a back boiler as well to heat the house, and it's just radiators. But we're going to be taking the oil out and going with biomass, solid fuel, and then the cooker Liv puts in. So that's how we'll be heating the house, and then underfloor heating on the ground floor to heat the house then as well, rather than radiators. We think it'll be a better job. So anyways, that's just a little bit on what's heating the house at the minute. Here are the two reasons why we decided to take that machine on, and it's why we're going to choose solid fuel, because we're always going to have that supply of timber. So pigeon, might as well make use of it. So what you've seen that's chopped at the front of the house, if you haven't seen some of our old videos, or if you're new to the channel, is timber that we cleared from the front of the house, all trees and shrubs and stuff, and we took some of the better stuff out of it. And it was just to, as I said, just to see the machine working and make sure that if I brought it off to do work down the farm, I'm not going to be disappointed and be bringing it back. So yeah, no, well happy with that. Not alone with the house now, we were looking at how we'll be heating it with the solid fuel. Part of our development with the farm shop, which is quite literally just the other side of that little landing hedge there wouldn't be 20 metres between it, is we'll be putting in a biomass fuel system there to heat the farm shop and cafe. So we'll probably try and link a pipe across to be able to heat the house off the same system, so that we'll have plenty of heat sources for the house. That's kind of our plan at the minute. Now logistically we'll have to wait and see how that works out, but that's also something we're looking at doing. But in the heel of the hunt, choosing solid fuel, I just can't imagine coming into a house, miserable wet day, you're wet, you're cold coming in, the house may be warm, but just the thought of sitting in front of a fire, that's just the kind of life I want. That's the future I want. We'll be doing more work hopefully in the next couple of months. We'll get started at the house. We'll start knocking our bits and building on, and we'll keep content on it coming. Insulation, won't we, dry lining, lime plastering, all that fun stuff if anyone is interested. But I suppose there's not much more to say. If you have any comments, if you want to tell me why we're wrong with not putting in heat pumps, or whether you think we're right, you can leave it in the comments down below and have a nice lively discussion down there on whether it's right or wrong. But that's the decision we're making. I don't think we'll be changing our mind. And look, I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, please like and subscribe to the channel. Videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. That's it from me. Good luck.